Hello, everyone. I hope you are well today. Welcome to What is Happening Now, UK Economy and Business Update. Thank you for joining me and tuning in. This is Thursday at 11 a.m. and this session happens every week. So do make sure that you mark your diaries for future sessions as well. We are currently live all over the place. We are live on Facebook, in my Facebook group. We are live on LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. So hello, everyone, and welcome. For those of you that are new to me and you just happen to have stumbled across this session, my name is Annette Ferguson. I am CEO of Annette & Co, a UK-based accounting firm. I am a chartered accountant, certified profit first professional, and small business growth strategist. And fundamentally, we help business owners take home more money from their business for them and their families to enjoy. Today's live is all around the UK economy, UK business, and updating you on what's been happening over the last week with all of that stuff. I'm also going to speak a little bit about what we might expect to see for the spring budget, which is coming up on the 15th. So stay tuned for me covering off that as well. Now, of course, because these things are always changing, I do have some notes that I will be referring to on today's session. So do bear with me if I look down from time to time to make sure I've covered off everything that I have to speak about today. So if you are watching this session, do give me a hello in the comments. Give me some thumbs up, some hearts, some likes, some love, whatever the version is on whichever platform you happen to be watching on today. That would mean a huge amount to me. So please do make sure that you do that. So first off, I'm going to speak about interest rates. So I covered off interest rates last time as well. I spoke about interest rates last time. And of course, this is a hot topic because it impacts many people with mortgages and borrowing. So Andrew Bailey, who is the governor of the Bank of England, he has signaled that financial markets are wrong to assume the Bank of England will raise interest rates further. Now, last week there was mumblings that it will probably go up 0.5 percentage point, but he's saying that might not be the right assumption to be making at this time on Wednesday. He said that the bank no longer presumed it would increase rates beyond the current 4%. Even though market expectations of rate rises have risen over the past few months. So this is quite positive in reality, that he is saying, don't assume that we're going to raise rates again. He added, at this stage, I would caution against suggesting either that we are done with increasing the bank rate or that we will inevitably need to do more. So he is basically saying, we have reached no firm decision on this yet, but please don't assume that we are going to just straight up raise rates again. So this is positive news overall, something that we are excited to see. So that is fab. Now, the next bit I want to speak about is I'm going to speak about the public sector industrial action that's been happening a lot. What I am not doing is opening up this live for any debate about whether it's right or wrong that public sector's workers should be striking. I am not opening it up for argument in the comments. That is not what I am looking for here. Of course, some people will agree with the strike action, some people will not. That is how we live our lives, and we can, respectfully not need to argue about that on social media. But what I want to say about this is in relation to the economy and what commentators are currently saying around this, because actually the industrial action in the UK from public sector workers is also something that we're seeing across the globe. And the whether the world's workers can basically press home their demands for better pay is the single biggest question facing central bankers around the world, because they are trying to curb rising inflation. So What we hear from the chief economist of the European Central Bank, Philip Lane, he warns that even after energy and pandemic factors fade, wage inflation will be the primary driver of price inflation over the next several years. So even a relatively moderate looking wage settlement could stop inflation falling back towards the central bank's 2% targets. Unless, of course, we jack up interest rates further to what may very well be worldwide recessionary inducing levels. So we're caught in a catch-22 really with the public sector pay rises and pay rises in general, actually, not just the public sector pay rises, but pay rises in general, because as wages rise, this perpetually fuels higher inflation, which requires interest rates to rise to pull down the inflation. But as we have more inflation and higher interest rates, then workers demand higher wages. And so this whole thing just fuels itself. Now, I'm not passing judgment on whether or not there should be pay rises at all. What I'm saying is this is the problem. The problem is that as pay rises, whether that's public or private sector, as pay rises, it fuels inflation and it fuels the prices increasing of everything, and it fuels interest rates having to increase as well. So I'm not saying that there's a short, easy fix for that. That is just the economic situation that we are currently in at this point in time. Like I said, I'm not opening this up for who is right and who is wrong and what needs to be done, etc. I'm just stating the facts of how this works in practice. So the next thing is the UK tax authorities have launched crackdowns on holiday let owners. So HMRC, I spoke last week about HMRC having sent nudge letters to online influencers and people who are content producers saying, we think you maybe have forgotten to declare some of your income. Well, they've also done the same to those that they believe have non-declared income from short-term rentals. So about 1,000 property owners have received nudge letters this week. And that is because HMRC believe that they have not paid enough tax. So based on information that's been received from online booking platforms such as Airbnb, HMRC have sent out these letters off the back of that. Okay, so they believe that people are not declaring these in their self-assessment tax returns. So recipients of the letter have been given 30 days to respond or risk a formal inquiry, i.e. a tax investigation. HMRC's scrutiny comes as the holiday rentals market has grown rapidly in recent years, and that has been helped basically by the preferential treatment of short-term lettings compared to a traditional buy-to-let rental. So people are better off if they go down this route. But of course, HMRC want to have their share of the earnings in tax receipts as well. So that is where we currently are with holiday let owners. Now, another piece of good news is that UK consumer confidence has hit its highest levels since April 22. So UK consumer confidence rebounded in February to its highest level in almost a year, in a sign that households' resilience despite the cost of living crisis, according to data that was published on Friday. Research group GfK says that its index of consumer confidence, which is a closely watched measure of how people view their personal finances and wider economic prospects, rose by 7 points. Now it rose to minus 38, which of course might not sound great, but it has risen and it's beaten the consensus forecasts of minus 43. So that is positive. And it is actually the highest reading since April 2022 of the index, which fell to a near record low in January. So a real bounce back in February from January. The measure has remained well below zero, however, which means that most respondents reported a decline in confidence. So There's a bit of a good and bad news there. John Staton of GfK's client strategy director said that although February score was still severely depressed, consumers had suddenly shown more optimism about the state of their personal finances and the general economic situation, especially for the coming year. So that is positive for businesses if consumer confidence is higher. Now, you might be in a B2B business and think, well, the consumer confidence has nothing to do with me. But remember that even in a B2B business, it's humans you're dealing with. And so consumer confidence still matters when you are in B2B because it's all about humans. So now on to I'm not Nostradamus, but here's some thoughts and predictions around the spring update, which is happening on the 15th of March. So we have some things that are kind of coming out at the moment, some things that we know will be announced or reiterated, and some things that we are going to be looking out for during the spring budget. Now, what I'm covering off today are this sort of highlight things that are going to be the most important for business and small business owners. So there will be other things on the fringes that may affect you personally, but that's what I want to speak about today. So it is expected that the energy price support for businesses, whilst it is due to end, it may become more targeted than it has been going into the future. So beyond April, we might actually still see some energy price support for business, but it will be much more targeted than it has been. So if you're a bricks and mortar business and you have utility bills, that is something to listen out for and watch out for on the 15th. Of course, by the way, I will be going live on the 15th once we've got word of kind of what's happening. So I will be going live then as well. So do make sure you watch out for that. I will also be live tweeting during the budget. So you can follow me there. I'm Annette_Fergs on Twitter. So you can check out there as I live tweet during the budget. That will be a fun day for me. So we also believe that despite warnings from business leaders that higher taxes will hamper growth, we believe that the Chancellor will forge ahead with the planned rise in corporation tax, which is scheduled to take effect from April. Now, this rise was announced in the 2021 spring budget by Rishi Sunak when he was Chancellor. The summary of it is that if your business's profits are under £50,000, nothing will change for you. You'll still pay 19% corporation tax. If your business's profits are over £250,000, you will pay 25% corporation tax. And if you're in the bucket in the middle, there will basically be a tapered rate somewhere between 19 and 25% that will increase steadily as we go through that level that you will pay on your profits of your business. This is expected to net around 18 billion for the Treasury. So unlikely that this is going to be reversed. However, there are some murmurings that Jeremy Hunt might in fact pre-announce future tax cuts in corporation tax, perhaps over some kind of 5-year period as part of a corporation tax roadmap. Not confirmed, but we do not expect the rises that are due to come in April to do anything other than come in April. So do make sure that you understand that for your forecasting and your budgeting for your business and your tax planning, so that you understand what you need to do. Remember, there are some things that you can do around tax planning if you're starting to creep into some of the higher bands. Do make sure that you speak to your accountant or tax professional about that so that you can be tax efficient in your corporation tax bill. So just as corporation tax is going to go up, investment incentives are scheduled to be removed, and the one of which is the corporation tax super deduction. So that was the 130% allowed deduction for asset investment, basically, which reduced businesses' corporation tax bills by more than the amount that they had invested. Now that will end on the 31st of March, and we don't expect that to be extended at this point in time. So again, we could be wrong, but we don't expect that to be extended any further. So that will end on the 31st of March. And of course, something which has already also been announced, which you need to make sure that you are taking into account when you're looking at your future personal tax liabilities and how you might structure things, is that the tax-free allowance of dividend income, called the dividend allowance, that is at this point in time, pre 5th of April 2023, is £2,000 a year. That is going to move to £1,000 a year from the 6th of April 23, and then it is going to reduce to £500 a year from the 6th of April 2024. That has already again been announced, unlikely to change as a result of the spring budget in a week or so's time, couple of weeks' time. So that is what we are expecting to come out of the spring budget. Nothing crazy amazing for businesses at all, but it will be a question of watch this space and see what happens over the next few weeks as to what will ultimately come into the Finance Act and into law in the tax legislation. So thank you for tuning in today, everyone. I am back, of course, again, same time, same place next week for your What is Happening Now UK economy and business update. I hope that these sessions are helpful. I will also be going live, as I said, on the day of the spring budget, and I am live every Tuesday as well for Training Tuesdays at 11 a.m. And let me just check my diary and I can tell you what my topic is for next Tuesday. So Tuesday, the 7th of March is our next Training Tuesday live, and that is signs you might need to tune up your business's financial health. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with you on that session. So make sure you pop it in your diary, Tuesday at 11 a.m. Remember, Thursdays at 11 a.m. you have What's Happening Now, UK business and economic update, and I will be live, as I said, on the day of the budget, which is Wednesday the 15th. So mark that in your diaries too. Good stuff. Take care, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you all again very soon. Take care. Bye.